Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be filming a cabin crew Q&A. I know I did a video not long ago about some of the things I thought would be helpful for people who are wanting to join cabin crew or just have an interest. And I had so many comments on YouTube and messages on Instagram asking more things, so I was like, right, why don't I just do a Q&A? So I'm going to answer all the questions that was asked on my Instagram and YouTube, and if there's anything else that like pops up into my brain while I'm doing it, then I'm just going to tell you all that as well, because I just want it to be as useful for everyone who's wanting to join or thinking about joining. So if this is interesting to you guys, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram. And I'm also going to be doing a video coming very soon, and I'm going to be inputting loads of photos and footage on everywhere I've been, my favourite places, including places like the Bahamas, Asia, all the really cool stuff. So don't forget to subscribe guys so you don't miss out on that. Okay guys, I've got them all on my phone, so I'm just going to have a look. I'm just going to go through the ones that I've got screenshotted first, and then I've got some other ones in the comments and stuff. So this is quite a, I suppose quite a common asked one. What's your favourite thing about cabin crew? Now, obviously the travelling, seeing the different places. I'm very much an explorer. I'm the type of person that loves to be free, wander, see all different kind of things. I'm so into like history and stuff like that. So traveling for me was just so good for my soul. Like I just felt like I was so zen when I was in different countries. But another thing that was one of my favourite things about being cabin crew was meeting complete strangers and having the most once in a lifetime experiences with complete strangers across the other side of the world that I just met a couple of hours ago or something in the briefing room. And like, it's a shame really that some of my best memories in my life are with people I'll never see again, but that is the life of cabin crew. You may see that person again and again, but if you leave or you don't keep in touch or whatever, that's it. But I love that I can meet strangers and I have amazing experiences with them. I think that's incredible. Did you experience many Karens? Yes. Cabin crew can be quite a bitchy industry. I did touch on this in my last video. A lot of jobs worth, so a lot of people that are willing to step on you to go up the ladder, and it is quite daunting, it's quite scary, especially if you're new and you're a bit like, oh, you don't feel like you could say anything or stick up for yourself. And I have had friends actually that lost their jobs due to other people kind of telling on them instead of helping them and mentoring, and it's a shame because they didn't get that full cabin crew experience because they just bumped into the wrong person. So there is Karens, yeah, and also customers as well, like passengers. Passengers are I could do a whole video on passengers. They are something else. But yes, you do have a lot of Karen experiences, unfortunately. The scariest thing you experienced, I think I said this last time, I had really bad turbulence on my very last flight to the point where like everyone on the flight was crying. Like it was horrific. It was, for the first time in my flying career, I thought, am I gonna die on this flight? You don't get that very often, and you can just get severe turbulence, guys. We're very dramatic in the airline industry. It did feel like we were gonna crash. It was really bad. I could hear the passengers screaming, everybody was crying in the crew bunks, and it was very scary. I'm trying to think of like other scary experiences off the top of my head. We were in Chicago once and we were just going off on the runway, and then one of the engines blew up and we were like, oh, so we didn't take off. Thank God it did it before we went in the air. But we got like a 5-day trip in Chicago, so that was a plus to me, guys. You do get some scary experiences, but not very often, guys. Like, and you have such good training, so you kind of know going into everything what to do. You know, they very embed it in you that every time you feel like something may occur, it's in your head like, what can you do if it's a ditching, if it's a, you know, a fire or whatever. And when you train, you have to go through, oh, I can't remember what it's called now. you have to go through this like phase in your head where you have to think of everything before you take off, or while you're taking off, if that makes sense. But yeah, so honestly there is so much training on everything with like scary stuff, so don't worry. How did you know you wanted to become cabin crew? I'd always wanted to travel the world. It wasn't necessarily that I wanted to become cabin crew, I just always wanted to travel the world. And I kind of wanted to do it when I was younger, because I knew obviously as I got older I wanted to have kids and settle. Not that you can't do that with kids, you know, there are plenty of people with kids that are still cabin crew, but I just wanted to do it while I was younger, while I had the energy, because I thought later in life I still want to travel, but I want it to be for work. Like, you know, I have dreams of like businesses and stuff like that. But I wanted to travel for fun while I was younger, but I'm not the backpacking type. I've always said that, I'm just not the backpacking type. So I thought, why not join cabin crew, get paid while you do it. It's great experience, it looks great on your CV. And I just did it, and it was the best thing I ever did. It was honestly the best thing I've ever done in my life. And you just, when you join, you know, some people do join and they're like, it's really not for them. It's really not for them, guys, and they leave quite soon. But I always think, even if that happens to you in life, if you join somewhere and you find out it's not for you, it's not a failure, because you've ticked it off and you know it's not for you, but you can say you've done it. There's nothing worse in life, guys, than having regrets and being like, what if I would have done that? What if I would have loved that? What if that would have gave me the best experiences of my life? I can say I've done it. So even though I left it and walked away, I can never say, what if I did cabin crew, because I did it. I just couldn't think of anything worse than being on my deathbed and thinking, what if I would have done that? How would my life been different? So there's a little bit of inspirational speech for you guys. Your favourite place you visited with cabin crew and why? Definitely the Bahamas. I did 7 days in the Bahamas. On my next video I'll show you guys all the footage and stuff from the Bahamas, and it is literally exactly what it looks like in the pictures. It is crazy, it doesn't need a filter. Like you'll see from my footage, it did not need filters. It was just so peaceful, the people there were so chilled, everyone was so happy. It was like heaven on earth. It was just unreal, and I'm just so grateful, because that's a place where most people in their lifetimes never get to go, and I managed to go. I'd really like to think that one day I'll live a life where I can afford to go back places like that, but honestly, best time of my life. Best time of my life, drinking Bahama Mamas all day, every day for 7 days. Tips, advice for the BA training. I've just been offered the job. First of all, congratulations. It's really hard to get into British Airways or cabin crew in general, so congratulations. So training, don't live in London, you're obviously going to have to go, if it's British Airways Heathrow, you're obviously going to have to go down and live there for, I think it was like 5-6 weeks potentially. What I would say is, do not have a life for 6 weeks, that period. I know that sounds crazy, but just put everything into that training, because when I say that training is so intense, guys, it is every day, exams every day, like they are so thorough, and they will kick you off. They will kick you off if you're messing about. Like, they don't mess about, the trainers there. You get like 3 strikes and stuff. So honestly, I would say just put everything into it. Listen, go in, listen, get your sleep, drink your water, so you are literally focused, because it's intense. You fail like so many of those exams, you can retake them, but only like so many times it's over, and you've come all of that way. You need to just literally focus, because the thing is with the training is you've got modules to do at home as well. So you go to work, you're like there for 8-9 hours studying, and then you go home and you have to study again because you've got an exam in the morning and you've got modules to do. It is so intense, but they don't care, because they're literally thinking, we're giving you the best job in the world, so you give us all your time for 6 weeks. What I would say as well is get to know everyone, because your training people are probably going to be friends for life, some of them, because some of those people are my friends for life. It's so intense, and if you've got each other, you know, you can do revision sessions together and stuff like that. So just make friends, make the most of it. ask as many questions as you can. I asked so many questions because, like everyone else, there's so many questions that you want to know. Like, you really learn on the job. I'll be honest, guys, there's some things they teach you in training, and then you get on your first flight and you're like, it's all gone out the window. Don't worry, everybody's like that. I remember when I was on standby and it was my second flight and I got pulled on to a Seattle, and it was my first long haul flight, and I was like, oh my god, I can't remember anything. And they put me in business class, and obviously I hadn't had business class training because you have to work 6 months before you get your business class training. And luckily I had the most loveliest manager ever, and he just helped me through it all, bless him. But it's okay, guys. There are so many new people there all the time. Like, you're not the only one, and you get really nice cabin crew that just are happy to take you under their wing and teach you everything. So just don't stress. When you're there, enjoy it, give it all your time, especially during your training, but just don't stress because it's not worth it. I think I look back now when I was there, and I think I would stress a lot while on flights and stuff, and I look back now, and now I have a real stressful job. I'm like, God, that was not stressful. Like, why were you so stressing so bad? But you've got to bear in mind as well, there is a lot of responsibility that lies on you as cabin crew, because everybody's safety and food is in your hands. Okay, so somebody put on my last video, I don't fully understand the amount of days for trips. When you went to the Bahamas, did you need to pay for your accommodation there before flight home? Okay, guys, so no. So as British Airways, you do not pay for any accommodation ever. So you're working away from your home. So they're taking you away from your home potentially for however many days. So they pay for your accommodation, and they only put you in 4 or 5-star hotels. The hotels are amazing, guys. They're absolutely stunning, really stunning. I mean, some of the hotels we stayed in, they were incredible. So they pay for that. The only thing they don't pay for is your food. Sometimes if you're lucky, you get breakfast included in some hotels, or they might give you like a gift card or something, but that's quite rare. You don't get your food included, so you do have to pay for your own food, but that's where you get your salary and your allowances, and that all comes in one salary at the end of the month. But it's like your basic salary is like £1,000, and then your allowances can be like up to £1,000 as well, or well, it can be up to anything depending how much you work. But it has to be legal. You can only work so much in a month for it to be legal, because you can't just keep flying and never having days off. So I roughly would pick up about 1,800 to £2,000, but some people would pick up 1,600. It just really depends on the trip. So your pay really is the trips. But where it comes to days off, you kind of learn that on the job, I'm going to be honest. So for example, Vegas was always classed as 3 days. So the first day you fly out and you're there for probably 24 to 30 something hours, and then you fly back the next night. So you fly there, you stay overnight, that next night you fly home. But because that covers a 3-day period, so you might fly out Monday, get into America Monday still, stay Monday night, and then Tuesday night you might fly back and you'd land into Heathrow back on Wednesday. So that's classed as 3-day trips. So when they say 3 days, 5 days trips, you're not down route for 5 days. It's the coverage of the days that you're traveling to. So 3-day Vegas would equivalent to 3 days off. Now that's because of the time of the flight, how long the flight is. There's so much into it with legalities that I don't really know, but you just kind of know when you get into the crew headspace when you're flying. You know, like a 9 days Singapore, Sydney, I think was something like 5 days off after, 4 or 5 days off. You can do 4-day Vegases. They did do 4-day Vegases. It's really different as well, because it depends what time the flight's on, how many flights a week there are, for how long that trip's going to be. Bahamas, we didn't do as many flights a week, so the flight was, they did a 7-day one, which is the one I did, but they also did like 5 days, 4 days. So not every Bahamas trip you'll do will be 7 days. I hope that makes sense. So there's a long list to tell you how many exactly what trip is what days off, but when you get there, there is documents that they can give you that has all that in, so you know basically all of the legalities behind it. Also, if like you're down route and something happens to the aircraft goes tech, or that's what we used to call it, if something's gone wrong with the aircraft or whatever reason, weather, and you couldn't fly back and you had to stay over like an extra day, all this is taken into accountability. So they always keep it legal with your days off, so you'll always have to have the exact amount of days off that's legal to that flight. I'm really not explaining it very well, guys, but it's really difficult unless you kind of are flying regularly and understand it. So I've got here how I've just been offered my cabin crew job with TUI. Congratulations. I used to work for TUI as well. TUI is a really good company, and TUI actually pay their cabin crew more than British Airways. So they don't have as many routes, but there is some real good benefits with flying with TUI. So congratulations for that. I'm so excited, but my only worry is, will it affect my relationship? We've been together for 5 years and I don't want to worry about the job ruining it. Can you maintain a relationship as cabin crew? As you said, 2 years isn't long haul to start, but how many days a week would you be home working for BA? So the BA question, how many days would you be working home? Sometimes there'll be weeks where I'm not home. Sometimes I could be doing a 7-day Euro tour or 9 days Singapore, Sydney. So it really is different week by week. You could have 5 days at home one week and then the next week away for the whole week. Because short haul, you don't need days off after or whatever. You have to have, I think it's 9 days off in a month? I think you physically had to have 9 days off a month. But you tend to have more than that. Like, that was the very minimum. Some days, I mean, my last few months I was working, I had 2 weeks off every month, spread out through the month, but you can't guarantee that every month. Yeah, TUI isn't long haul. I think you have to do 3 years before it's long haul with TUI, so you'll be back home anyway after your shifts. I think there was one that they might have done. Was it Cape Verde? Or there was one trip, I think sometimes the short haul guys got to stay, but don't quote me on that because I don't know. If you've been together 5 years, I'd like to think that that's a stable relationship, and you know, you've been together, you know each other, you're secure with each other, you've been together half a decade, so I have full faith that you'll be fine. When I was cabin crew, I was single. I'm not gonna lie, I was single for the 3 years, so I wasn't with anyone. I did start to talk to people here and there, but they didn't like the fact that I was always away out the country, so I respected that, that's fine. I did see a lot of crew have relationships, and they absolutely loved it because they thought that they got their own time, as well as, you know, then it gave them time to miss their partner. And also their partners used to come on the trips all the time and basically get really cheap trips around the world and travel the world, which is amazing. That was one thing I was always jealous about. I really wanted a partner to take around the world with me as well. But there were some people that really struggled. I did know some people that struggled being away from their partner for so much if they were maybe more dependent on their partner and they left cabin crew the job. But I genuinely think it's one of those things you just got to try out, and if it's for you, it's for you, it's brilliant. If it's not for you in your relationship, then you know what, you tried it and it didn't work and you can do something else. I wouldn't worry too much about that because I think you'll be so swept up in this whirlwind of travelling. So somebody had asked me about the parking at Heathrow. So we have a multi-storey car park that's just for the cabin crew and ground staff. So don't worry about parking. I never had any issues there with it being full. I know sometimes it did get full, but that we can use, I think it's like a Sofitel hotel car park. Don't quote me on that, but when that's full, they do offer cabin crew another car park. So don't worry about that, there is parking. The only thing I would say about the car park is there was a lot of issues with people banging into each other's cars and scratching cars. So if you've got a really nice car or you're very precious about your car, just be careful or put a cover on it or park away from everyone else, because there was a lot of issues about the car park and there is no CCTV there. Someone also said as well, I think it's lovely how you have such great memories with the crew. Were most of the crew in the same boat when they wanted to explore? So if it was somewhere unusual or places where there was a lot to see, let's say for example China, people always wanted to do the Great Wall because there was always someone who hadn't done it. There was destinations or places where people had done it all, like I've been to Vegas, I probably can't count on two hands. So there were a lot of times where I went to Vegas and I just did my own thing, or I just stayed by the pool, or just got food, or had a wander around. So it really depends. If it's somewhere where you go all the time, you might find a lot of crew don't want to do anything, or if it's very experienced crew. But then sometimes the crew can go and do things twice. I've done things twice, so it just depends. But you'll find there usually is someone who wants to go out and do something on every crew. There is always someone who wants to go and do something, so don't ever worry about that. Someone said, do they provide transport pickup and drop off in Heathrow? So they offer transport taking you to the hotel and back to the hotel when you're down route. So obviously from the airport, there'll be a coach, a crew bus we used to call it, and they'll take the crew to the hotel, and then same when it's going back home. But transport to and from Heathrow outside of that, like before your shift, no, like you have to make your own way there and your own way home. And obviously all I would say is if you're on a really long flight and you're driving home, just be very careful, because we did have some crew have accidents, and there were some deaths in that as well, where crew have been so exhausted and then drove home and had an accident. However, we do have a crew restroom in the CRC, which is our centre where we check in and stuff. And there is beds in there, so you can take a nap before you want to drive home if that's easier for you, because there's nothing worse than driving home and you're feeling absolutely shattered and you're scared to drive. Someone said as well, you forgot to mention the one-to-one interview. I did forget to mention the one-to-one interview. So in the last video, when I was talking about the assessment day, you do all the activities, you prove yourself. They pull you in a room and say if you've passed the assessment centre or not. Obviously I explained in my last video, a big group got told no, and only 6 of us out of about 50 of us got told yes. And then what they said is, right now we want you to do the one-to-one interview, and then us 6 had to go and do the one-to-one interview, which was quite intense. It's just normal questions, like your average experience sort of questions and stuff, like what you've done that would relate to this, blah blah blah. It was fine, and out of 6 of us, I think only 1 of us didn't pass the interview, but I think you don't get told till like a few days or a week later or something like that. You don't know on the day. Guys, I think that is all the questions, so I hope that you enjoyed that. If there is any more questions, just drop them in the comments and I can do another Q&A. I actually quite enjoy these because it's a bit nostalgic for me, coming back to my cabin crew days. So don't forget that I'm going to be doing a video soon of my favourite destinations I've been to, with loads of footage and photos, so subscribe so you don't miss that. And then anything else you want to know, guys, just drop it in the comments and I'm more than happy to help. So I hope you like this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That really helps my channel when you do that, guys. It really does. Please, please, please subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by March 1st. I've given myself a target. So please, please help me with that. Comment, let me know what you think, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram. And guys, I hope you have an amazing, amazing new year. I'm so excited for this year, this new year, 2022 angel numbers. I hope you have an amazing day. Bye, have a beautiful time.